Now, there's been a lot of talk about the death of photography at the hands of AI. This video, it's not meant to be speculative on what the future holds for photographers, but given the recent rise in popularity of AI-generated artworks and the controversy surrounding them, I did want to go ahead and pit my favorite images from 2022 against their AI-generated counterparts. Now for this project, I'm going to be using what seems to be the most popular software, which is called Midjourney. The way it works is to give your prompt into a special Discord page. The more detailed your prompt is, the better the results will be. And just a minute later, like magic, your text becomes an actual image. It gives you 4 options to choose from, which you can then refine or upscale. The program can seemingly recreate any style from cartoony to photorealistic and everything in between. And without further ado, let's get right into it. First up is this shot from northern Arizona in the Vermilion Cliffs that I took last year. This is a shot that did not do so well on social media, but I absolutely love it. I love this twisted dead juniper tree and the way the twisted branches kind of fill up the foreground, and then it extends over the top to kind of frame these hoodoos or these big sandstone teepees in the background. And then just the way the soft light coming from the sun was hitting the tops of the sagebrush and everything really made this composition stand out for me. And here is the AI generated image. This is really impressive. Very dramatic. I really like the composition and the idea that the AI came up with. I love the realism though. This is very interesting. The light source is coming from this side and it's hitting all of the tops of the sagebrush and lighting that up, and then casting a shadow on the other side. It makes sense. It's very cool. I think the teepees, I kind of like how it's more spread out in this photo. It definitely is really cool though. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the roots of the juniper tree right here. A little bit funky, but honestly, I think I actually prefer the AI version to mine. Next, we have a shot from Saudi Arabia that I took back in January. This was really fun to take. It's actually a drone shot. This arch was about 100 feet in the air, and there was no way that I could climb up to photograph it. So I sent the drone up instead and was able to get the really nice light hitting it at sunrise. Just a really cool kind of natural framing in the desert out there. And let's see how this one does. Again, I am very impressed. Compositionally, it does a really good job. First thing I notice is that the sun star over here is very wonky. Now we're starting to see the limitations of AI. It's kind of going off in every random direction. Looks a little bit more like a dandelion than a sunburst, but I still get the point across. Again, it looks really cool though. One thing I do see is that it looks very much like Utah or Moab, the way the sandstone is shaped. And I'm guessing that's because there's not many photos of Saudi Arabia online to use as reference. The AI uses photos that are already out there. And so when I'm typing in Arabic or Arab desert landscapes, I'm assuming it doesn't have too many Arab desert landscapes to choose from or to pull from. So it is just grabbing things from the Moab area, which seems to be the most popular desert images online. Overall, though, I think it's really cool. It definitely gets the point across. I think it's a bit of a toss-up which one I like more. And next we have this image of these very unusual sandstone hoodoos in Utah. You can obviously tell there's no drama or anything going on in the sky. It was just a bluebird day, but honestly, I don't mind. It's such a unique location. And to get this perspective, I actually did this as a vertical oriented panorama. So it is 3 vertical shots next to each other at 14 millimeters. So while it looks really big and cool, This hoodoo on the left-hand side with the really skinny neck is actually only about 2 feet tall, so not quite so impressive in person, but the perspective looks really cool in the camera. So yeah, this is a really fun shot, and let's see how the AI did. This is one where I tried about 20 different variations of and could not get anything close to resembling mine. All of the hoodoos end up being very mushroom shaped, and it looks like something more out of Mars than out of Earth. It still looks really cool. This time it gave it almost like a Mark Adamus Orton glow feel to it. I still think it looks really cool, but this is a little bit more movie cover to me than photograph. And next up is a shot from Ethiopia in the Omo Valley. That area is more known for its unique tribes, but the landscapes are actually also very gorgeous. So this is taken in the hills kind of surrounding the area, and I was really just caught by the layered, the kind of the rolling hills, and then also just the way this late afternoon light was hitting the trees over here, just lighting up the tips of them, and then also lighting up the farmland in the background. I really loved it. And we can see here the AI definitely struggled a little bit. It was unable to give any sort of photographic look to it. It definitely looks a bit more painterly. I like the light hitting the trees. It matches the color tones pretty similarly. Overall, I think it does a good job, but this is a little bit more book cover than photograph to me. This might be in my top 3 shots taken from 2022. This is from a sunrise in the Bisti Badlands in New Mexico on a workshop I was leading with David Swindler. And this was just probably one of the most spectacular sunrises I saw that year. Of course, not only for the colors, but then there's this very unusual like vertical shaft of light coming up from the sun. And then just, of course, lighting up this very unusually shaped hoodoo over here made it, very unique. So for me, this was a really cool shot. And here we have the AI image. This one is really interesting as well. I love the warm light coming in from the side. I love the blue and purple on the other side, kind of in the shadow of the clouds. The hoodoo is definitely funky. I don't think the AI understands how to make hoodoos yet, because it's giving this like weird alien Martian look to it in the middle of it, with all these I don't know. It looks like bones or like a skeleton inside. Not really quite sure where that came from, but it looks cool. I like the layout that it gave, or the composition that it gave. Overall, I think it's really nice. It's pretty solid. Next up is a shot I took last fall in Alaska. This is an area known as the Chandalar Shelf, and I was very excited because I had always wanted to photograph this area with a drone, and last year was the first time I was up there in the fall and had a drone with me. So you can see this beautiful winding river, kind of leading down from the bottom left up towards the top right, as a natural leading line, and the fall colors were just beautiful. I will say that just a few minutes after I took this photo, the drone went haywire and crashed itself into a side of a mountain. So I'm not sure if it was worth it. It's definitely a really cool photo, but I don't know how I feel about losing the drone over it. Okay, again here we've got a bit more of a painted, like Bob Ross look to it. It still looks really cool, but it's definitely not a photo. The river is more like a twisted lake. I don't think the AI quite knows what to do. It got the colors correct, but the mountains are really sloped in a very painted way. Overall, it's really cool, but I think my image wins. Next up, we have not just one of my favorite images from last year, but I think one of my favorite images that I've ever taken. This is not from Antelope Canyon. This is actually from a different canyon in a very remote area of Utah. Um, it's very special to me because I haven't seen too many photos of this canyon, but I dropped in the morning and spent all day walking up and down the corridors, waiting for the light to change and seeing how it reacted. And eventually found this light beam shining through and was able to photograph it. So for me, I know light beams are there's plenty of photos of them online, but this one is mine, so it's really special. And here is the AI version. Again, we're getting a bit of a wonkiness in the sunburst up here, but the canyon itself is really, really cool. I like the path leading through it. I like the color tones that it shows, this almost like chamber-like appearance up front and how it moves and gets a little bit more open in the back. This is another one though. No matter how many times I entered different information into the AI software, it would not give me a beam of light. Maybe that's my own fault. Maybe I wasn't doing something right, but it just wasn't able to replicate that. It's still very cool, but I'm going to still say that mine is better. Next up is another canyon photograph, this time from Costa Rica. This is a place that's been sort of described as like the Narrows of Costa Rica, similar to like the Narrows in Zion. You've got this, river running through a rocky bottomed canyon with these sheer vertical walls. Although, of course, because we're in Costa Rica, it's very lush and tropical, and it has all these ferns and vegetation and moss growing everywhere. Again, this is another one that didn't do too well on social media, but the experience was really most of it. Of course, I like the composition, but just that day and the experience of being in the canyon really made it for me. And here is the AI version. This one is obviously way more dramatic. It looks like it was taken up from a higher angle. It's got more moss on the walls. It's got more ferns. It looks really misty and really cool. Honestly, I think this one is way better. There's no question about that. The funniest thing, though, is that when I first saw this, is that it actually tried to replicate a watermark down at the bottom. Because AI is pulling from different images already online, it clearly found similar images to mine, but with a watermark on it, and put that in there as well. So I thought that was really funny. But honestly, this one is way better. I think there's no question about it. Okay, next up we have what is probably my favorite image of last year. This was taken in the highlands of Ethiopia in the Simien Mountains. And to give a little bit of context, it had been dumping rain for the last 3 days while I was trekking out there. And this was finally the first morning where the rain let up a bit. And just absolutely loved how the grass is kind of blowing over to the left, but then it's kind of sweeping to the right, the leading line, and then up into the beautiful sunrise over here. I love the view down the escarpment or the cliffs here, down into this canyon below with the dappled light. The whole thing really worked for me, and the fact that it was the one shining moment of light in an otherwise extremely rainy trip made it that much better to me. And we can see here the AI, again, it does a really good job at creating something fantastical. But this is another one that I could not get to look like a photograph. It still looks really cool, but it's definitely very much in like a Jurassic Park movie poster. The composition that it came up with is, kind of similar in terms of the grass and the kind of leading line from one side to another. It looks really cool. I would say this is a bit of a toss-up between which one is better. This is definitely more painting, mine is more photograph, but they're still both really cool. And last but not least, we have this photograph from the Empty Quarter in Oman. These dunes were really fun to photograph. I drove my dinky little rental car out there and parked in one area, and then just hiked for as far as I could into the sand dunes. And, this morning was pretty uneventful weather-wise, but had a lot of haze, and it actually worked to my advantage to help sell the depth and the distance of how vast this landscape was. And here we have the AI generated dune photos. Honestly, this one is really, really cool too. I like the sand ripples up front, and it did a very good job at capturing like the mist back here and the haziness, and the dunes kind of going off forever into the distance. Some things don't quite make sense. There's this random patch of light here. I don't know if that's like going into Aladdin's lair or something, but overall, it's a really, really solid shot. And honestly, I'm not sure which one I prefer. And there you have it. That was a really fun experiment to try. Don't quite know how I feel though. Some images kind of worked out, some of them didn't. You can really see that the AI erred on the side of fantastical, where it gave everything almost like a fantasy novel cover approach to it. It definitely looks cool, but it's not exactly based in reality. Personally, I'm into AI. I think it's really cool now, or at least the AI generated artworks. I signed up for a subscription for Midjourney. I think it's a really cool platform, and I'm excited to see what other stuff I can make out of it. That's not photography related. For me though, photography is mostly about the experience, at least half about the experience, and not just the photo end result. So definitely AI is not going to take that away from me, and I think that a lot of people would agree. But mostly I'm curious what you guys think, how you thought my images compared to the AI counterparts, and just let me know in the comments. So I do want to thank you for watching, and hope to see you in 2023. Thanks. Bye.